Another movie review for you. This is the 1973 movie Mean Streets, and it's of course directed by Martin Scorsese. The screenplay is by Martin and Martin, and Scorsese was also responsible for the story, the original story. The cast in the lead roles: Robert De Niro plays Johnny Boy, Harvey Keitel is Charlie, and then supporting roles: David Provel is Tony, he's the owner of the bar. Richard Romanus, Michael, he's a sort of loan shark character who Charlie has to report to. Cesario Danova plays Giovanni, he's a mafia boss. Victor Argo Mario, also involved in organised crime. George Menoli is Joey. And finally, Amy Robertson plays Charlie's girlfriend, Teresa, and she is also Johnny Boy's sister. This film was overlooked by the major awards, but it did pick up supporting actor winning statue at the Film Critics for Robert De Niro, and also nominations for Best Film and Best Actor and Best Actor for both De Niro and Keitel. And then at the New York Critics, as opposed to the American critics, again, Robert De Niro won for Best Supporting Actor movie. It's a study of life in New York's Little Italy, and Mean Streets personifies authenticity, it has to be said. The action involves a group of small-time crooks, all of whom know each other well. Central to the story is Charlie, played by Keitel. He's an honourable man who has trouble reconciling his religious beliefs with his day-to-day sinning. Another problem, he's too soft on people, so he's taken advantage of, notably by Johnny Boy, played by De Niro. Johnny Boy is an unstable but amusing friend who cares only for himself, and he gives Charlie, that is, gives Johnny far too much rope, and Michael, the local loan shark, gets frequently uptight with Charlie when Johnny fails to pay back his debts. The gang hangs out at Tony's bar, that's David Provel's bar, and this provides dancing, girls, nightly fights, and then the lads cruise the streets afterwards looking for gullible teenagers with cash to spend, and they often end up at the movies afterwards. In the daytime, Charlie collects payments for his mafia uncle, Giovanni. Charlie dreams of settling down with his own restaurant, but his girlfriend, Teresa, hints at marriage and children far too often, which isn't that popular in Charlie's dreams of reality. She's Johnny's sister as well, and the pair of them are often in conversations when Giovanni reminds Charlie that business does not mix with either of them. Mean Streets unleashed Scorsese onto the movie audience, although it was not his first film. It is, however, the one that introduces many of his trademark themes: gangster life and religion. Back to the plot, Johnny wants to do right by everyone and somehow save those who've lost their way, vis-a-vis Johnny Boy. In his mind, you make up for your sins on the street, not in church. But Johnny, however, is content to rest around infuriating people because he doesn't and never will care. Since Charlie mistakenly believes that change will occur in Johnny if only he pushes him hard enough, the consequences to this are frustration, lots of it, and ultimately chaos. Now, Scorsese with ease creates an environment to record daily activity. He understands neighbourhood for sure, and he concentrates on the minor details, the insults and the worries. These low-level hoods are on the edge of the major action, chasing after money to keep afloat. The main characters are extremely believable. The cast are skilled, and the film launched the careers of both Keitel and Niro on the movie public, and began a long-standing working relationship with the director Scorsese. He's excellent as the decent but torn Charlie. He's both heroic and stupid. Charlie seems determined to make his life as tough as can be, a trial to endure, in fact. De Niro also is wonderful, though with a diametrically opposed character. Johnny's a real live wire, cocky and abrasive. So De Niro throws himself into overdrive, constantly moving and acting up. De Niro plays him with an irrational recklessness. The cast is good, but the female roles get a bit of short shrift from Scorsese, which he tended to do regularly in his movies. Robinson gets to be the devoted, angry and writhing girlfriend, but this is not really a surprise. Mean Streets, through Scorsese's use of the camera, the lighting, the space and the music, is a highlight. The opening sequence introduces the main characters, and Scorsese captures exactly what he wants you to see. We witness scenes from above, sometimes from below, and using a handheld camera to boot. Sharp editing ensures maximum impact. His use of colour is 5-star. Saturated deep into the red in bars, then overexposed almost to monochrome elsewhere. It's representative of how good a director he is. And last comes the immemorable soundtrack, mixing classical and rock music, which is very much Scorsese's forte. To a few notes that I made whilst I watched it. Firstly, Charlie's dream. In the dream we hear Be My Baby by the Ronettes, and life is recalled on home movie projector, silent movie style, and religious figures captured on photo. Junkies using the bar toilet to fix, and Michael with his business acumen tested when his delivery at Dockside is wrong. De Niro blows up mailboxes for kicks, and Charlie's confession, which is a frequent event, is quite a valued piece of the action. Charlie fantasizes about the exotic black dancer as well, which we see, whereas Johnny is full of comedic naughtiness, a lovable con man, a lovable rogue, and his tall stories are beautiful to listen to as to why he is always skint. Isn't short of violence, and we see a nasty sequence when due payments aren't met. The fights are often brutal, graphic, and lays down the cinematic blueprint as to how realistic gangster violence should be, and it's portrayed on the screen vividly by Scorsese. Plus, of course, the tea money for the corrupt cops is touched on. The notion of being whacked becomes part of gangster folklore in this movie, and also exotic wild animal pets are seen as a reflection of the wealth from racketeering. Scorsese is able to capture the chaos of the moment to illustrate the criminal lifestyle connected to organised crime. Character instigates many of the conflicts courtesy of his razor-sharp criticism and ill-judged insults, much like a terrier dog nipping at your ankles constantly. Inevitably, patience wears thin with him, for Charlie and for others, and more seriously, of course, with Michael and the bosses. Charlie's relationship with Teresa is explored in part with its connection to religion and morality. We're also witness to the first steps of a more openness towards sex and nudity on screen, and also their volatile arguments illustrate the power struggle between them vividly. We also get a glimpse of the bosses as they sit perusing and making judgments as to who was at fault at a recent bar shooting that we see, and the chaos created by Johnny Boy, However, Scorsese's priority is on focusing on the soldiers, not the bosses. He presents a life unglamorized and frustrating. He touches on other social issues briefly, serving in Vietnam, drug taking, and Italians' discomfort with their women, and blacks, but none of these are explored in depth. Ultimately, the script returns to Charlie's ability to fix problems mostly caused by Johnny Boy, and also with Teresa. A typical episode is seen from Charlie's intervention when Johnny Boy is on a roof, firing his gun indiscriminately and letting off fireworks into the darkness. The last scenes we see are the consequences of Charlie's loyalty to Johnny, and it turns very ugly. This is a type of movie that bears repeated visits. It gets better the more you watch it, but of course you're constantly comparing it with later work, which is a bit unfair really on Scorsese. It's really a very good and impressive beginning to his filmography, and I really suggest that you get to watch it, particularly looking at the two leads and how they, at the beginnings of their careers, show what talent they have. So there we have it then, Mean Streets, directed by Martin Scorsese.